Good morning. This is video 7 for MPA100, Fundamentals of Music at Cal State Monterey Bay. I'm Dr. Ovens. Today we're going to continue our discussion of minor scales and build on what we already talked about in video 6. In video 6, we introduced the 3 forms of the minor scale. We're just going to build on that, get a little bit more experience with it. And you'll notice I'm using my handwritten examples today because, frankly, I want you all thinking about notating these things properly and making it easier to read. We think, like, as composers, we want our players to be able to read our ideas. That's part of the way we think about this. We introduced the idea of relative minors in the last video, the idea that every major scale has a relative minor. And so we talk about C major. Get my keyboard here. Using all the white keys, if I go to the 6th degree of that scale, the A, and use the same keys, that's the A natural minor scale. Today we're going to be talking about F major and D minor. Those are the relatives. So F major, F, G, A, B flat, to get that whole step, half step, whole step, half step pattern. If I use the same notes but start on the 6th degree of the scale, D, and play those same notes, that's D natural minor. So we're going to practice building the other 2 forms of the minor scale in D with that starting point. So the harmonic minor, we keep everything the same except we raise the 7th degree. So we have D, E, F, G, A, B flat, C sharp, D. 7th degree is raised, and so we get this interesting combination. We never see this in major in a scale. We'll see it in pieces, but never in a scale. That will have a flat and a sharp in the same scale. But in minor, this happens because of this idea of raising the 7th degree. In minor, melodic minor form, it's a little different. Going up, the first 3 notes stay the same: D, E, F natural, G, A. We raise the 6th degree a half step relative to natural minor and harmonic minor, B natural, and we raise the 7th degree, C sharp, and we get to D. That's the form ascending. Going down, starting on D, the C goes back to the natural form, the B flat does too, A, G, F, E, D. So that's what we mean when we say that rising 6 and 7 are raised, and falling, or the descending form of the scale, they are lowered. Lowering can sometimes mean using a natural if it had been sharped. Lowering can sometimes mean using a flat. Raising can sometimes mean using a sharp, but sometimes it means using a natural. If there had been a key signature, the B flat had been the key signature, I'd have to have that natural. Sometimes in our assignments, we get a really scary looking key signature to write a problem in. And that's to get us thinking about the process. So for instance, in our current assignments, we have D sharp minor. Oh no, D sharp minor, what could that mean? Well, it's very simple, really, if you think of it this way. I know D minor, so for D sharp minor, all I have to do is raise every note a half step relative to D minor. So I kind of sketched in the D scale here. So for D sharp minor, I need to raise the first note. D sharp has to start on D sharp. D sharp, E sharp, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B flat becomes B natural, C sharp, D sharp. This is the D sharp natural minor scale. D sharp, E sharp, I play the same note as I usually call F, but in this context it's E sharp, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, C sharp, D sharp, natural minor. Now, part of the reason I wanted to be sure to do this today is because we're using this other very strange looking thing. This is a double sharp. When I write a double sharp by hand in manuscript, I write it this way, kind of an X with these dots in the spaces. We actually don't really have to have those. The X is fine. That'll convey your idea. And when you see it in print, it'll look like an X. So the harmonic minor, again, I start on D sharp. I have an E sharp, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp. The B stays the same. C double sharp. I play the note I usually call D because it's got to be 2 half steps above C, D sharp. C double sharp, D sharp. All right? The double sharp is 2 half steps above the note that we're double sharping. In the melodic minor, same idea. D sharp, E sharp, F sharp, just like the D sharp minor. G sharp, A sharp, B. I need to have it raised. B sharp, C double sharp, D sharp. What's that sound like? D sharp, E sharp, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B sharp, the note I usually call C, C double sharp, the note I usually call D, D sharp. All right? It's strange when we first encounter it, but it'll seem very natural after we've hung around with it for a while. Natural is probably not the best word to use in this context. Normal, perhaps. But in any event, double sharp is simply the note 2 half steps above my regular form. C, C sharp, C double sharp, right? C, C flat. I'd use the key I usually call B. C double flat. I'd use the key I normally call B flat. It's all about musical context. This will become clear as we go. Stick with it. Thank you.